Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're back with another engine video. This is I believe it's a 1954 or 55 if I remember correctly. I have to look up the serial number again. Katolite generator, as you can see. And it is a very large generator, as you can see. This thing's got to weigh the better part of 500 pounds or so. It's powered by a Wisconsin AGHD engine, which has a whopping 3.5-inch bore by 4-inch stroke. And I believe, if memory serves, this is the second largest single-cylinder engine Wisconsin ever made. And it's tied to the Katolite generator, which is a model 43HFW4, and it puts out 3,500 watts at 115 and 230 volts, and the cool part is at 1,800 RPM. So yeah, this is an absolute behemoth of a generator. Like I said, it weighs probably the better part of 500 pounds if I had to guess, and I just finished getting it out of my truck over there by myself, of course. Used that bar over there, a jack stand, a block of wood, and that roller. Managed to get it up out of the truck, down the ramps, and then onto this dolly here. And it was not fun and not easy, but of course nobody else is around, so that's what we're stuck with. But here we are. So I'm very, very anxious to get this thing up and going because I'm really excited to see how this thing sounds. I know it's going to be one hell of a thumper, but I want to hear it run, and I want to see it make some electricity. And then the goal is potentially, if this all pans out, might even bring this down to a fan meet along with Rob's 48-inch Davidson exhaust fan, which you probably saw, or you may have seen in my fan video intros, and see if we can't run that fan with this thing. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves right now. We'll have to see if we can even get it running first, but that is the eventual goal. But anyways, take a quick walk around here. Some interesting features and whatnot. I don't know whether this is factory or somebody converted this, but this actually just has regular ignition on instead of a mag. So this is like a little spark timer in there. I'm assuming with a set of points. And we got a coil here. So unfortunately you have to run this thing with a battery. Luckily I got a couple junk batteries over there, so that should work. It's crank start, which is the other reason that makes me wonder if that was converted, because I feel like if you had crank start, like without the battery, I don't know. We'll have to look into that one a little bit more. But the neat thing is, it's got its own little mini generator or alternator on it to charge the batteries. It's belt driven from behind the flywheel, and it's got electric start, which is going to be nice, so I don't have to crank, especially with this rusty frozen up crank handle. I would get tiring really fast. But yeah, it's hard to put into perspective how big this thing really is on camera. It's quite tall and quite long. Here's a view from the other side here. I don't think this unit has many hours on it. The paint is in really good shape, and if you look, like, there's even still paint on all these fins and everything, and you know, all the decals and stuff are there. And maybe it was used indoors, but the muffler doesn't really make it look like that, so I'm not entirely sure. Can't remember if I said this already or not, but this came from my buddy Jake, also known as 5 Tractor Guy here on YouTube. He acquired it at some sort of estate clean out, and then it sat at his place for like a year, and he's getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you want this?" And I was like, yeah. Don't have any room for it currently, but that's besides the point. We'll figure that out later. You can see there's just a quad outlet here, and then the 240 volt outlet there. It's on these big, I don't know what these are, 4x6s or something like that, which have notches in them down there on either end. So I'm not entirely sure if it was some sort of cart or what at one point, but they're rotting out and falling apart, as you can see, and they're way too big. So eventually, if I get this thing running, I'm gonna get it up on a cart so I can actually move it around. But yeah, as far as I know right now, it does turn over. The starter motor is stuck in the engaged position, and it's got no compression. So we're going to tear into it. I don't know if I'm going to go quite as crazy as I have on other engines, mainly because it's tied to the generator, so it's going to be really hard to work on. And also, like I said, I'm just kind of itching to hear this thing run. So I think what we're going to do is go ahead and pull this apart just enough. We're going to have to unstick some valves. We'll oil up the cylinder and check everything there while we're in there. And then something I am going to do is pull it off the base, because it's a Wisconsin. It's got a water pump, or not an oil pump, sorry. And those are often full of sludge. So we're going to hoist this whole thing into the air and clean out the pan and the oil pump real good. Make sure that that's all good. And then the usual probably needs points cleaned, carburetor cleaned, and all that stuff, because carb linkages are all frozen and everything. But yeah, it's going to be a cool project, so I figured I'd go ahead and take you guys along for the ride. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and put you guys up on the tripod, and let's start going through this thing. One last quick thing here, just for kicks. Got the tape measure. The top of the air cleaner is 25.5 inches. Top of the gas tank is probably 28. And that's from the top of the skid. Skid's another inch and a bit. So this thing is just shy of 30 inches tall. And lengthwise, 34. So it's a sizable unit. It's hard to tell on camera just how big things are sometimes. So hopefully that gives you a sense of scale.
In the backseat, parked out in the cane. Ever since the first time, I ain't ever been the same. I gave up on baseball and I threw down my glove. I discovered girls, I got into love. Me and my friend Albo, he's the one who had the car. We made all the dances and we made all the bars. Told each other secrets and we wore each other's clothes. One night I stole his woman, if he knows. Sleep all day, running all night, chasing the ladies cause we knew they might. We raised a lot of hell, we made a lot of noise. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys.
Alrighty guys, so as you saw, we got this all cleaned up. The exhaust valve obviously wasn't that stuck, because with a little bit of PB Blaster and a light tap, it freed right up. It's probably the easiest freeing up valve I think I've ever had. Piston's nice and clean now, as you can see. The only markings on it are a line, and then it's 1/2 on the left side there. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. There you go. Not entirely sure what that means. Usually pistons are stamped with STD if they're standard, and then a size if they're bored over, but not sure. Haven't messed with too much Wisconsin stuff. There was some very light rust in the bore that I took care of with some Scotch-Brite there. And overall the cylinder's glazed, but it's not bad. And in fact, if you look, I noticed this right away actually. There is actually still cross-hatching in here, as you can see. So that's pretty neat. So either this thing is literally like brand new and never used, or it's been rebuilt at some point very recently and then never used, but either way this thing has very, very low hours on it, which is very cool. It means it should run good, and that everything on the bottom end is probably good too. The valve seats don't look terrible, but we'll probably pull them and do a valve job anyways, especially since the exhaust side was stuck. But that won't be too bad. But yeah, this is very exciting. It means, as I thought, this thing has very low hours on it, which is awesome, because that means it's going to be hopefully both a good runner and strong and powerful, and not burn too much oil and all that good stuff. So I think with that being said, what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull the carburetor off so I can get access to the valves under there. We'll pop the valves out one at a time, do a valve job while we're in here, and then we'll slap all this back together and try pulling it off its base and just check everything in there.
She loved me so deeply and I tried to hold on. Change it don't come easy when you've been this way so long. Sleep all day, run all night, chasing the ladies cause we knew they might.
Just took the carburetor off, and this is a new one for me. Something wedged in there from the top side. I don't even know what that is. I might need to grab pliers to get that out of there, but oh no, it just fell out. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that's a new one. How that got in the top side there, I have no idea. But these are all locked up. Oh, maybe not. Maybe the PB blaster's doing its thing. Oh yeah, that's starting to free up. That one's not. You can see it got a little wet in there. But anyways, just thought that was interesting.
We raised a lot of hell, we made a lot of noise. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys. Sleep all day.
A little update here. Went through, cleaned everything up. I forget what I last said. But got the carburetor off. It's really gummy and the choke is really seized, but it will free up. Took the side off and went to start removing the valves and realized I have no idea where my valve spring compressor got off to. I tried the screwdriver trick and it just doesn't work. My other valve spring compressor, just the squeezy one like that, also doesn't work. The seats, actually looking at them with the flashlight, look okay. So I guess worst case I could probably leave them and it would probably be fine, but I'd rather not do that. So I'm going to leave that apart for now, and hopefully the valve spring compressor will magically turn up. Which, no, it probably won't, but hopefully it will. In the meantime, I guess, oh, actually I pulled the oil pan plug off just for shits and giggles, and it's actually empty in there. There's just like a very small amount of residue on the bottom, so that's kind of odd. But I think what I'm going to do for the time being is pop that little distributor or timer apart there and see if we can clean up the points and get some spark. And after that, again, hopefully the thing will turn up, and otherwise we'll lift it off the base and just check the oil pump, which I have a feeling will be very clean. Having seen the rest of this engine now, it really doesn't look like it has many hours on it at all, but yeah, you just never know with that gummy, crappy old oil stuff. I don't want to run any risks, especially since this thing is nice. And then the other part of that is I just want to see the insides because I've never seen inside one of these. So yeah, that's what I'm going to keep doing across the next couple of clips, and I will keep you guys posted as we go along.
Chasing the ladies cause we knew they might. We raised a lot of hell, we made a lot of noise. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys. Everybody knew we were Bayou boys.
So there's good news and bad news. Good news is, found the valve spring compressor. Bad news is, I had to remove the whole manifold thing to even get this remotely close to in there, so probably gonna have to make a new gasket for that too. But anyways, I'm gonna get after this, because then we got spark back. Might have to adjust the points, not sure yet. We got spark, it's a little weak. We'll see how it runs. And then we'll pull this thing off the base. So gonna keep chugging along here. So two interesting things here. One, now you can see the difference between, hang on, I'm trying to do this backwards, a lapped valve and a not lapped valve. Not that these even really needed it that bad, but it makes a big difference. This one's lapped, that one's not lapped. You can see that nice, clean, distinct line where the seat is making contact, and the seat looks equally as shiny and clean. But also, as you can see here, check out how low on the valve surface that line is. That means these valves have very, very, very little wear. Usually you want them to make contact somewhere in the middle, but because these are basically brand new, it's making contact right here, which means that it has this entire length here to wear before you need a new valve and or seat, which is just wild. The more I'm looking at this thing, the more I'm realizing that this thing has basically no hours on it, which is awesome. It means we're gonna have a really nice running generator. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this intake really quick. That literally, on the course, it literally took about three up and downs and, you know, things before it sounded like it was just there. So it barely needed anything. I just wanted to clean up some of the rust and crust and shit that's been on here from that one, especially being open to the elements for so long. And same deal here. There's just like some carbon and nasty stuff on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat that procedure on this one, and then we'll have so much fun putting those valve keepers back in. No, we won't, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back together afterwards. So we're chugging right along here. Hopefully by the end of the day today, we'll be able to actually get this thing running, which will be awesome. Alrighty, so I was in the process of trying to pull these two bolts on the side so I could lift this thing off the base, and this cover was in the way, this plate, and I pulled the bolts off, and I didn't realize that this was an access cover for the side. So this thing's no longer coming off the base, because with having the side off, I was able to test the oil pump. I put some oil in there because I scraped around and it really wasn't sludgy. It was just kind of old sticky oil at the bottom. So I put some detergent oil in here to clean things up a little. And I spun it around a whole bunch of times, and sure enough the trough filled up. So oil pump appears to be working. And just in here, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this because this flashlight on my phone isn't the greatest, but this thing looks literally brand new. I mean, everything's still shiny, everything's still got primer on it. There's that cam there. trying to hold a wire out of the way and hold the phone and the camera at the same time. It's not working very well. There you go. Cam's over there. Oil pump's kind of down over there-ish. There's another rod driven off another lobe on the cam back over there. But yeah, everything looks like literally brand new. It's crazy. Especially if we go to top dead and look up at the cylinder from down here. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick up on this. Hold on a second. Let's bounce the phone in here. Some high-tech camera work. There's oil on it now. Look at that cylinder. Literally brand new. All the cross hatching and everything. Rod's still painted. Like, there's not rust on anything. It's beautiful in here. There's the whoops. Holding things in the wrong order here. Sorry, this is some really crappy camera work, but yeah, there's your cam gear back there. So yeah, I really think that this engine has very, very, very low hours on it. I mean, obviously it was run once, it's not brand new, but everything's got, like, everything looks brand new. So it couldn't have been run very much. But yeah, so I guess I'll be able to make a new gasket for this side plate here, because obviously that got obliterated. And that's all good. So we are saved the effort of having to lift this massive heavy thing off its base. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this back together quick, and I guess then after that it's time to look at that carburetor and make sure everything's good in there. So anyways, gonna throw you guys back up on the on the tripod here, and let's get a little time lapse going and putting this back together. Alrighty guys, so while you guys weren't looking, I went ahead and threw this thing mostly back together here. Sorry for not videoing it. I've been in a little bit of a rush tonight because I really want to see this thing run as it's starting to get late. I'm already probably past the point where I should be making noise, but oh well. I just want to test fire it, see if it will run. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up the ignition cable here, and let's see if this thing won't make some noise. Let's go. It runs. Well, with some fine tuning, managed to get this thing up and running real strong. That sounds good. Put a muffler on it that I just had lying around here, and that quieted it down quite a bit. I know the cameras like to exaggerate things, but this thing ain't that loud. You can have pretty much a normal conversation over it, and if you muffle the output of this thing a little bit more, it's like completely silent. strong, and I'm really excited. A lot of my other antique generators, they run good, but you put a load on them and they just clog and droop, and your carburetors are worn out, and they don't generate like they should. But this thing being as low hours as it should, it's doing exactly what it's doing. It's putting out some good power, close to steady 60 hertz or so, and it's actually a normal voltage too. One of my other units goes way high at the voltage. That's the key here. This thing will actually be usable, and I'm very excited about that. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably shut her down for tonight, and then tomorrow we'll go ahead and button up the last few details. We'll talk about the exciting this thing and whatnot, and go ahead and wrap the video up. Yeah, sorry for jumping around a little bit here. I've just been excited and trying to take it with this thing in some free time here and haven't had a chance to post that video, but we'll get you guys all caught up to speed here shortly, so hang tight for a second. Alrighty guys, so it's all back together and it's running and generating, which is pretty cool. As you probably saw in the last clip there, it runs pretty strong. So obviously got it all back together, fired up, it ran good, but it wasn't making any juice. So what I ended up doing was I cleaned everything up in the back and unstuck a bunch of brushes and whatnot. Still nothing, so I realized I had to reflash the generator end. So with some help of Mike Tallarico, aka Small Engine Mechanic here on YouTube, he told me how to do that. Basically I measured the two brushes on the commutator in the back that makes the DC voltage to excite the generator, figured out which one was positive, and then connected a 6-volt lantern battery to the two brushes while it was running, and sure enough the voltage came right back up. And this thing makes good voltage. It sits right at the right frequency it should and makes actually like 115, 120 volts steady. So I'm very excited because this is the first time I've had an antique generator that's 1800 RPM, or really just an antique generator in general, that actually works the way that it should. Some of my other ones, they run, but either the voltage is really high or they droop real bad frequency wise under a load, and this one doesn't really do that. It's still got to wear in or free up a little bit, because when you first drop a load on it, it tends to droop a bit, but then it comes right back and it holds it, and if you drop more load on it, it's instantaneous. So I think when you first drop a load on it, it droops a little bit for a couple seconds, but then it comes back. So that'll probably go away with some running. But either way, like I said, it runs good. I had a carburetor issue or two yesterday, so hopefully we got those resolved. I cleaned it again. There was some junk in the seat. If it happens again, then I'm going to replace the fuel line, because I think that would mean the fuel line's disintegrating on the inside. But yeah, threw a muffler on it too. It's just a piece of crap Nelson muffler I had lying around. Quiets it down quite a bit, but it doesn't sound that great, if that makes any sense. So at some point I'm going to get a better muffler for it, but for now this is what I've got, and at least you can have a conversation over it while it's running. But anyways, figure I'd show you guys how it runs. Got the ignition connected here, so let's see if she fires. Take you guys up the tripod here and give you a little walk around. So here's the front on this thing. Really, you can see the belt going from a little opening there. I did try the starter motor too. It does work, and it works well. It's just a little bit high right now. It's 62 hertz, but not too terribly worried about it. Go ahead and drop a 1500 watt space heater on it. actually didn't get that bad that time. It was 61 hertz. The governor's freeing up a bit, I guess. We go back, that's 117 volts. It's a very nice voltage. That came right back. That's right around where it was before. So, like I said, this thing's definitely strong. It hardly sounds like it's working with 1,500 watts on it. The only problem I'm currently having, which I think is just an issue with some brushes not feeding right or being dirty or something, is that these two outlets don't seem to work. But if we unplug this fan draws about 7 amps, so they're about 800 watts. It didn't even split. We're running that. I think it's like 2,300 watts, 2,240 or something like that. It barely sounds like it's working. So that just goes to show that they really underrated these generators back then. I went to think to 4,000, if not more. I know the camera doesn't really do it justice because it likes to pick up engine sounds quite a bit, but I'm not really yelling right now. You can have pretty much a normal conversation over this. And in fact, for shits and giggles, I put another muffler in front of that, Nelson muffler, and the thing was basically silent. So I bet with like a car muffler or something on this thing would be dead silent. So I'm going to do that at some point once I get it mounted up on a cart so I can move it around easier. I'm going to put a really nice quiet muffler on it, and this thing will be super nice and usable. Yeah, we should be happy with that. Go ahead and drop the load off a bit. Brings it right back down to where it should be. 1,800 RPM generators are so nice. Because like even if it was loud, like it's just loud booms, it's not just screaming. It's just kind of sitting there thumping along. So much more pleasant to listen to. But yeah, I am very stoked right now. Finally have a Massive Wisconsin, which is something I've wanted for a while. And the boot is like brand new on the inside. And we finally have an actually usable antique generator too, which is sick. So, go ahead and throttle her down a bit. I don't know if I tuned the idle circuit in on this carburetor, but this thing will sit here and just thump. I'll hold it from this side. It's getting a little hard to hold on that shaft there. That thing's like hardly spinning. Just sitting there thumping along. I do have some electrical issues to deal with though on this unit. Because when you plug in this main cable here for everything, something's shorting because it goes straight to 30 or 20 amp discharge and it won't run, and it sucks this 4-week-old car battery just dry. Like so. It's not getting all the way over right now, but there's definitely something wrong. But minor technical details, at least it runs. So yeah, like I said before, I am extremely happy with this unit. Happy to see it running, generating, and doing what it's supposed to do here. So I think that's going to about do it for me for this video. I just got to put these two covers on, but I'm still messing around with brushes like I said. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. There will likely be a follow-up video on this thing once I get it on some form of cart and whatnot. But for now, I think that's going to do it on the Katolite. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you again, Jake, for letting me have this thing and cutting me a deal on it. I really appreciate it. But you guys know the drill. If you like what you see, hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.